Welcome back, everyone. This time, we're diving deep into the forefront of SETI research. We're talking about detecting technosignatures.
And not just any technosignatures. We're going beyond the usual search for biosignatures, those telltale signs of carbon-based life like we know here on Earth.
Things like oxygen, methane,
Right.
the kind of stuff we always hear about. But our sources today are challenging that whole idea that maybe it's not all about carbon-based life.
That's right. The papers we're looking at today propose some really novel technosignatures.
And each one comes with its own way of detecting it, of course.
Yeah.
But one thing that jumps out, they all seem to agree that just looking for those classic biosignatures is probably not enough.
Absolutely. One paper argues that advanced civilizations, they might be deliberately masking their biosignatures, hiding them from prying eyes like ours.
Sneaky.
But here's the thing, while they're busy hiding, they might be unintentionally creating other detectable technosignatures. Just by going about their business, their energy consumption, their infrastructure, all that.
It's like a cosmic version of Leave No Trace gone wrong.
Exactly. And that ties into the paper we talked about before, the one about artificial greenhouse gases.
Right. Because if they are deliberately terraforming planets, they might release gases we can actually detect. Kind of like a chemical fingerprint they don't even know they're leaving behind.
Precisely. That study focuses on detecting perfluorocarbons and sulfur hexafluoride in the atmospheres of exoplanets. What makes them good candidates is that they absorb really strongly in the mid-infrared. And guess what? The James Webb Space Telescope, it's perfect for observing that.
So we have the tools, at least in theory, but how much of these gases would we need to see to actually say, hey, something's fishy here?
Well, according to their findings, even tiny amounts, like parts per million, would create a noticeable signature in the planet's light. We're talking detectable by JWT after just a handful of transits.
That's surprisingly little. And here's a thought, wouldn't this be even easier to spot than those traditional biosignatures we were talking about?
That's what makes it so intriguing. Those artificial greenhouse gases, they stick out more. They found that a mix of C2F6, C3F8, and SF6 could be detected in just 5 transits at a concentration of 100 parts per million. And even at a concentration of just 10 parts per million, it's still detectable, but it takes a few more transits, around 25.
That's really interesting. We're basically talking about picking up on their air conditioning in a way.
Yeah.
It really highlights the potential of this whole technosignature approach.
Yeah.
But like with everything in science, I imagine there are some caveats, right?
Of course. For one, the specific mix of gases, the recipe they choose, if you will, that can make it easier or harder to detect.
Right, because we're working with our understanding of chemistry, but who knows what kind of crazy concoctions an alien civilization might cook up.
Exactly. And then there's the problem of false positives. Nature can be pretty good at mimicking things. There might be natural processes that produce similar signals, and we'd have to rule those out.
So it's not just about finding something that looks like a technosignature. It's about making sure it's not just nature playing tricks on us.
Exactly. It's a bit of a cosmic game of spot the difference.
And on top of that, we've got the elephant in the room, the sheer vastness of space. Even if a civilization is out there blasting out technosignatures left and right, we still need to be looking in the right place at the right time with the right tools.
That's right. We're talking about a cosmic game of hide and seek, and the universe is a very big playground.
Speaking of big, let's talk about something even grander than messing with the planet's atmosphere. Let's talk about Dyson spheres.
Now you're talking. Dyson spheres, these hypothetical megastructures built around entire stars to capture their energy, that's a whole other level of technosignature.
The kind of thing that makes you wonder, if a civilization could build something like that, what else might they be capable of?
The implications are truly mind-boggling.
Finding something like that, it wouldn't just be a scientific discovery. It would be a complete game changer for how we view our place in the universe. But let's be realistic, we haven't found any conclusive evidence of them yet.
Not yet, no. But even the possibility, the idea that it could be out there, it just emphasizes how important it is to stay open-minded, to consider technological possibilities that go way beyond anything we can currently imagine.
Because who knows? What seems like science fiction today could be tomorrow's groundbreaking discovery. But tell me, how would we even go about finding something like a Dyson sphere? They're absolutely massive.
Well, one way is to think about what would happen to all that energy the sphere is capturing. It wouldn't just disappear, it would be re-radiated, mostly as heat in the infrared spectrum.
So we wouldn't necessarily be looking for the structure itself, but for its waste heat. Clever.
Exactly. We'd be looking for stars that seem dimmer than they should be, but with a strong infrared signature. That could be a sign that something big is blocking the starlight and radiating heat.
It's like searching for the cosmic equivalent of a campfire. Only instead of twigs, it's a star they're burning. And wouldn't this concept of searching for anomalous waste heat apply to other things besides Dyson spheres?
Absolutely. Any civilization whose energy consumption is significant enough to alter its environment in a detectable way, that's something we could potentially pick up on.
Which leads me to another question. This whole detectability thing, it all seems to hinge on the scale of what we're looking for, right?
Precisely. A civilization that's confined to its home planet, even if their technology is way beyond ours, they might not be making enough of a splash for us to notice with our current instruments.
So, in a way, we're more likely to find the really big fish in the pond, those civilizations that have reached a level where they're engineering on a planetary or even a stellar scale.
It's a distinct possibility, though it's important to remember we're basing this all on our own limited understanding of what's technologically possible. We could be completely off the mark.
It's kind of a mind-blowing thought. Could a civilization become so advanced, so good at what they do, that they actually fly under our radar?
It's a question worth considering, definitely. And actually, one of the papers we looked at, it puts forward a fascinating idea. What if, and just hear me out on this, what if a civilization's tech, right, their activities, what if those activities look exactly like natural phenomena?
So we're looking for something that looks exactly like something we'd consider normal.
Exactly. The paper argues that truly advanced civilizations, think type 2 on the Kardashev scale, we're talking about harnessing the energy of their entire star. These civilizations might have tech that blends seamlessly with their environment, no detectable technosignatures whatsoever.
So they're so good at what they do that their tech just looks like, well, part of the universe?
Precisely. They could even be manipulating astrophysical events and we'd just think, oh, another supernova, how interesting, not realizing it's them.
It's like trying to spot a chameleon that's become perfectly transparent. We might be missing something truly extraordinary because it just looks too ordinary. Makes you wonder if our whole approach to SETI is a bit too, well, human-centered.
It's a valid point. And, another paper in this collection, it digs into that exact issue. It argues that we're limiting ourselves by assuming extraterrestrial intelligence will think like us, act like us, even use technology like us.
It's like we're back at square one with those biosignatures. Just because we haven't figured out a way to communicate faster than light doesn't mean another civilization hasn't.
Exactly. The paper suggests we need to widen our search parameters, look beyond what we currently consider possible. They even talk about civilizations manipulating space-time itself.
Now we're venturing into science fiction territory, right?
Well,
Warp drives, wormholes.
Maybe what we call science fiction is just science we haven't discovered yet. The point is, if we dismiss these possibilities out of hand, we could miss something huge.
It's a good reminder that we don't have all the answers. A little humility never hurt anyone. But okay, let's bring it back down to earth, at least figuratively. There was another paper that caught my eye. This one was about signal analysis, something a little more practical.
Ah, yes, that one. It was all about the immense challenge of actually identifying a potential technosignature. Imagine trying to hear a whisper in a hurricane. That's basically what we're dealing with.
So how do we even begin to tackle a problem like that?
Well, they talk about a few promising strategies. One that keeps coming up is AI, artificial intelligence. Specifically, using AI and machine learning to analyze all that data we're collecting from radio telescopes.
So we're basically teaching computers to find the interesting stuff for us.
In a way, yes. These algorithms can be trained to spot patterns, anomalies, things that would take humans forever to find. That way, researchers can focus on the most promising leads.
That makes sense. We're talking about an ocean of data. It would take us lifetimes to comb through it all manually. But how reliable are these AI algorithms? I mean, can they really tell the difference between a real technosignature and, say, a weird but totally natural cosmic event?
That's the million-dollar question, and the answer is, it depends. The better we understand the universe, both the natural stuff and the potential artificial stuff, the better our AI will be at telling them apart.
So it's a two-way street. We need better tech, but we also need a better understanding of the universe itself.
Exactly. This search for technosignatures, it's not just about finding aliens, it's about pushing the boundaries of what we know about the universe.
Every time we hit a dead end, every null result, it's not really a failure. It's adding another piece to the puzzle. helping us see the bigger picture.
Couldn't have said it better myself. And who knows, that bigger picture might include things we can't even imagine right now. We might find something that completely changes how we view everything.
It's a humbling thought, really, that our search for other intelligences might require us to completely rethink how we view the universe. But for now, let's stick with what we've got. We were talking about some really interesting papers, and there was one in particular that caught my eye. It was about the possibility of using stars themselves as technosignatures.
Ah, yes, that was a fascinating one. The idea there is, could a sufficiently advanced civilization actually manipulate the light coming from their star? And not just for energy, but maybe for communication, even signaling to other civilizations.
So we're talking about using a star like a cosmic billboard. That's a pretty bold advertising campaign.
Exactly. The paper goes into detail about how we might detect these manipulations. We'd be looking for tiny but deliberate fluctuations in the star's light curve, patterns that just don't fit with what we know about natural stellar processes.
Like flickering the lights in a rhythmic pattern.
Precisely. Imagine a civilization capable of inducing controlled solar flares, dimming events, things like that. They could essentially turn their star into a giant Morse code transmitter.
Now that's thinking big. But let's be real, to pull something like that off, you'd need technology so advanced it makes our stuff look like, well, sticks and stones.
No doubt. But we have to remember, we're trying to wrap our heads around civilizations that could be millions, even billions of years ahead of us. If we limit ourselves to what we think is possible, we're missing the whole point.
Good point. Still, telling the difference between natural stellar activity and something deliberate, that's got to be incredibly difficult. How could we even begin to do that?
Well, the paper suggests focusing on patterns, not just any fluctuations, but sequences, repetitions, things that can't be explained away by normal astrophysics. That's where we might find the smoking gun.
So it's not just about seeing something weird, it's about seeing something weird that repeats in a way that screams, hey, this is intentional.
Exactly. And it highlights something we keep coming back to. We need really sophisticated tools to analyze all this data. Algorithms that can pick out those subtle hints of intelligence from the background noise of the universe.
And that brings us back to AI. It seems like no matter where we turn in SETI, AI and machine learning are becoming essential.
Absolutely. These technologies, they're going to be crucial for finding those needles in the cosmic haystack.
But as we've discussed, those algorithms are only as good as the data we feed them. The more we understand about the universe, both the natural and the potentially artificial, the better equipped we'll be to identify something truly groundbreaking.
Couldn't agree more. Every new discovery, every dead end, it all contributes to the bigger picture. And that's what makes this search so exciting. It's not just about finding aliens, it's about expanding our understanding of the universe and our place in it.
It's a journey of discovery on a cosmic scale. And who knows what incredible things we'll find along the way. That's all the time we have for today, but as always, keep looking up, keep asking those big questions, and join us next time as we delve into another fascinating corner of the cosmos.